Hi there. A very good morning from my part of the world. A very good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. This is David Demas. If this is your first time of watching any of my videos, I'd like to welcome you. I'm an author. I'm a blogger. I would passion for knowledge. This platform is one of those parts where I get to like help people understand things to the best of my ability and area of my strength. I have a passion for knowledge to help non-Christians understand the faith of Christianity. I have a passion to also answer questions from that area. At the same time, also helping non-believers, non-Christians really navigate their way and build a bridge so that if they have any unanswered question, we'll be able to answer that. Also, this platform is a platform where we get to talk to Christians, believers, on how we can strengthen our faith and how we can get better and how we can navigate the shores of this world, the murky waters of this world, in a way that will not offend God. At the same time, will help us grow in our faith, in our career. So this is what this platform is all about. Like I said, if this is your first time of watching any of my videos, you can go back and see on my page. You will see videos in the past. Also, my blog is dddemas.com. You can go there and read most of the blogs that I have there. I'm also the host of a show called Standpoint. Standpoint is a show that tries to help people understand where we are as a body, as Christians, and then begin to navigate to move from our standpoint to God's standpoint. We have a tendency to always forget that we've been called into a purpose. So we tend to just, give it up and just want to go with what our flesh wants or what our mindset wants. So that's what this show is all about and all that. So I encourage you to join me. Today I want to talk about an interesting topic. I want to talk about five ways which we can protect or liberate ourselves from misinformation. So don't go anywhere, stay with me. Wherever you're watching this video from, I need you to just hit the like button if you can hear me clearly. Just hit the like button or heart button or whatever you want to do so that I can know you're hearing me. If you're watching it through a broadcast, it's okay if you let us know where you're watching from also, and whatever you make a comment, whatever you ask a question, I'll be ready to jump in and see how I can help answer. If I can't, I'll always ask people who are more vast in the areas than I am, and I will help answer that. Like I said, you can share the video if you want. I need you to join me to see that we can't do everything. We can't solve all the problems, but we can do something. And this is one of those things we can do to help share information like this, share videos like this, and all other very good videos online there. Very good people, great people doing videos online all over the world, all over America, trying to educate people and see how they can get better in their faith. I just want to just take 1 second and plead with you to allow me just take care of something briefly here before we move ahead. But like I said, if you want to okay, just 1 second and I'll join you. Just 1 second and I'll be with you. Okay, so like I said, we want to talk about 5 ways we can protect ourselves or liberate ourselves from misinformation. Now, misinformation is a very, 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 very strong thing in our society today. It is really eating into our society. I mean, if you can hear me, please hit the like button so that I can know you can hear me very well. If you can hear me, just hit the like button, hit the heart button, and if you want to go ahead and share. So like I said, today we want to talk about misinformation and how it's really eating into our society. Before that, I just want to encourage you in your faith, in all that you're doing. I was listening to a song by Passion. It's called One Thing Remains. You know, the song really blessed me. I said, let me share with as many that I can this morning before I move on with what I have ahead of me. You know, the song was talking about that the love of God never fails. The love of God never fails. You know, in death and in life, one thing remains: God's love remains what it is, and that is true. I know that there's a lot of messages going out there. There's a lot of people saying things out there. There's a lot of questions out there about the love of God. I just want to encourage you this morning that God loves you, and the love of God never fails. We might go wherever we want to go to. The love of God stands where it is. The love of God never ever fails, which is one of the things we want to talk today about: information. You find out that we have so much of a people that are assuming positions of responsibility and ability without adequate information or incorrect information. It's a very dicey situation. It's a very strong thing that has really taken hold over minds, over souls, over leadership positions. And one of the problems we have in that area is when you talk about it, you try to mention it, you get picked out for trying to be a nuisance or something. No, that's not what I am. Most people out there are trying to do. We're trying to see how we can help us navigate back to the proper channel to see how we can be a blessing. Now, going to the point for today, to the main point for today: misinformation. I want to ask. I want to ask for your comment. I mean, what do you understand by misinformation? What do you understand by incorrect information? And that's the first question I have. Three questions I want to ask, which I would love your comment. I want to hear from you. You can, put the comment out there and let me know what you think. What is misinformation or incorrect information? I just want to hear from you. I mean, whatever part of the world you are right now, whatever part of the world you're watching me from, if you're watching from a rebroadcast of this video, just let me know what you think by misinformation or incorrect information, because depending on who you speak with, there's a lot of misconception about the meaning or the real definition of what misinformation or incorrect information is. It means that it's relative. So I'd like to hear from you what that is. Leave your comment in there, put it there, and I'm going to talk about it and all that. The second question I want to ask, I will reserve it for later also, but I want to welcome everybody that is joining us. I want to welcome Evans Elion. I want to welcome Helen Jaremon. I want to welcome Samson Zarma. I want to welcome our meme. I want to welcome I mean, like, the names just keep coming, but I just want to welcome you. I might not be able to see everybody's name as it comes in. I might not be able to point you out. Mustafa Ambura, thank you for joining. Welcome to this awesome time we're going to have in trying to see how we can move forth in life in our knowledge. So like I said, my passion is knowledge, and I talk about it. I encourage people. I believe that information is the key. I wrote something about information, about misinformation in my blog. Again, you can go check it out, dddimas.com. You can go online in www.mystandpoint.online to watch past videos. In fact, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna just add the website to the blog here, www.dddimas.com. You can go in there and read most of my posts, and you can go to www.mystandpoint.online and watch most of our videos for Standpoint. Standpoint is a platform, like I said, for reasoning together. We get to talk about where we are, acknowledge what the problem is. It's one thing to deny that there's an issue, and there's another thing to acknowledge that there's an issue, and then we move forward in life. So you can go in there and check out blogs. You read blog posts that can bless you, and you can go ahead and share the messages if you like. Don't give whatever they call it credit. It doesn't bother me as long as it bless people and all that. You can go also to my Standpoint online and watch our past videos to see which one of them can bless you. Now, Thank you, Patience, and everybody who has just joined. Now, what is misinformation? Depending who you talk with, misinformation is something that people will argue, or people pick pieces of information and run with it. Now, one of the hardest things in life, working with human beings in my position of leadership, I've come to find out that it's very hard, super hard to help people unlearn things. I give you an example. When there was this point, I was visiting a friend many years ago, and his for no reason, his locks, you were supposed to turn it to the right to lock it and turn it to the left to open the door, to unlock the door. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened to his door, and you now turn it to the left to lock it, and then you turn it to the right to open it. Now, I spent some time with him, and I had the key to the house, and I began to visit, and of course, I grew up with a system whereby the key, you turn to the right to lock, and then you turn to the left to unlock. Now, when I spent so many times, a long time with my friend whose door is abnormal, and you turn to the left, you turn to the left to close, and turn to the right to open, it kind of like shaped my faculties, my mindset. When I went back to my original house and my original residence, where I have to unlock by turning to the left and lock by turning to the right, I find myself trying to do what I do to his door, because my mind has been programmed to turn to the right to lock and then turn to the left to open. I had to relearn how to do it the normal way that I'm used to. That is how it is with us. It's so hard. We have to make effort. There's something about misinformation in our society. Keeping quiet over it will not solve the problem. I mean, you have to do something about it. You have to make concerted effort to see that you unlearn things that you know that are not working well for you, and you let go pieces of information that are not proper, that are not appropriate, that are not correct. Let's take another example. When you go to the hospital, probably you need a medication, and let's say you have malaria, you have flu or something, and they give you a medication. Let's take malaria, for example, or typhoid, and all that. Now, when you're given the medication or antibiotics, depending on what you went to the hospital for, you will be given a medication, a dose, to say, hey, take this 2 tablets every 8 hours for 10 days. Now, if you are like me, you usually, you're not a person who is used to pills. You always forget, instead of taking 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening for 10 days, you take 2 in the morning, you forget to take it in the night, and then the next morning you remember, and I remember, I'll take it, and then you got busy and you forgot, and the night you say, oh my God, I didn't take last night, I didn't take this morning, let me take it now. Now, after a certain time, you might find out that the sickness might still persist. When you go back to the hospital, this is what the doctor is going to say to you. Listen, how did you take your medication? Now, if you're honest to the doctor that, hey, I missed most of my doses, if the doctor has to give you a new medication, he won't give you the same medication. He's going to give you a different medication. You know why? Because that particular medication he gave you, the particular brand he gave you, you didn't follow the proper way, the proper instruction. Now, the bacteria must have developed resistance for that particular brand of drug. So the doctor has to give you a higher brand, a stronger brand, so that it will not, so that it will fight the bacteria. Now, knowing that the bacteria has not developed resistance for the new drugs, I take that back, not drugs. In this part of the country, we don't call it drugs, we call it medicine, and all that. So majorly, that is how it is with information. For you to be able to move further in life, you need to make effort to see that you unlearn, you avail yourself to learn. You do something about misinformation in your life, misinformation in your career. You do the best that you can to ensure that you are furnished with the proper and the right information in your life. Now, misinformation is not a black person thing, it's not a white person thing, it's not a color thing, it is not a religious Christian or Muslim thing. No, it is not a a Republican and Democrat thing. It is not a conservative and liberal thing. It is not a redeem and winners thing, Orthodox or Pentecostal thing. It is a global thing. It's a human thing. It's a thing that, thank you so much for sharing the video. You know, James, thank you, Lawa Bisola, for joining also. It is a global thing that has eaten us completely. So you find out that in the black setting, in the white setting, in the Christian setting, the Muslim setting, in the Republican setting, in the Democrat setting, in the African setting, in the Western setting, in most settings, some certain people now yeah, good to see you again, Nesta and Nehemiah. You know, some certain people now begin to feed on misinformation, or begin to feed people misinformation. Now here's the thing. Like I said in my post this morning, to as many that were opportune to see the post, a study in 2008, you know, established that, you know, thank you so much, Samson, for sharing the video too. A study in 2008 indicated that people are likely, 2 times likely, to spread misinformation, incorrect information, or believe misinformation, as long as it helps their status, as long as it helps their personality, as long as it helps their belief, as long as it connects to a certain belief that they have. Instead of making effort to be able to see, to compare what I know, what I knew, what I was taught with what I think is incorrect, they just absorb it, as long as it helps their status, it helps their personality, and it connects with a certain belief. Now, I gave an example a while ago. I asked a question. I still don't have an answer. Put your answer down there. What is misinformation and all that? I want to hear from you. You know, so I talked about many years ago where I was taught from reputable sources about the eagle. I was taught that, oh, the eagle is a bird that goes into hibernation in 6 months. It stays there for 6 months. It doesn't come out. It sheds all its feathers and remains there for 6 months, and then it doesn't eat for 6 months, and then it comes out after 6 months of hibernation, and then it flies. And then another thing they taught me then was that when the eagle is trying to teach the eaglet how to fly, it carries the eagles on its back, and then it flies to the topmost top, and then it turns, it flips and throws the eagle away, and then it follows the eagle while the eaglet is falling, tumbling, that if the eaglet is about to fall to a certain altitude, that the eagle will come and swoop it and take it off. But hey, guess what? I went ahead to preach this. I went ahead to teach this to as many that could listen to me, in every opportunity. And so many things that I was taught. But guess what? Over the years, I began to study, from the National Eagle Center, National Geographic Channel also, and all other areas. And I found out that these things were not correct. They were not correct. They were false information. I began to study more about what is called branching and fledging, and how the eagle does all that very great things about the eagle. So we need to realize that it is a tough thing, it's a hard thing for us, but we have to, as a people, begin to see how we will not be given to misinformation. Now, supply of misinformation is on the increase. It's rampant, it's full, it's growing, because the demand is also there. The demand for the supply for misinformation is actually meeting the demand for misinformation. In fact, I dare say that the demand for misinformation is exceeding the supply for misinformation, because every day of our lives we see it out there. We just keep, especially in these days of WhatsApp, people just sit down and, oh, there's fire going on in this place, send it to 5-6 people, and then start praying. Oh, when we're sending stuff like that we are not very sure, it is a problem. Don't just sit down there and press send, or somebody sends 1 or 2 things to you and you read it, because it ties to your faith, or ties to your mentality, or ties to your belief. You just believe it and then you send it. That's an improper thing, and I think we should do something about it. One of the problems we have also is that when you provide facts to people, it's hard for them to accept it. It's very hard for them to accept facts when you provide facts for them, or evidence that, listen, this thing you're believing is just not the right thing. Instead of trying to give it attention, give it give it credence, or try to say, you know what, he said this or she said this, or I just heard this, let me see what I can check, let me see what I can look for in this area. What people do is they develop a countermeasure. As long as it is tied to something that they believe in, they just feel that, you know what, boom, I believe this, that settles it, and that is all. Now, one of the areas I want to talk about is in my faith, the Christian faith, talking about God. You find out that information that a lot of people are brought up with is the information that they work with. For example, when some people get born again, they are fed with a certain system of teachings of Christianity or perception about God. And when they get to the level of pastors or evangelists or whatever title they're given, or whatever calling the Lord has placed upon their life, they begin to use those information to feed people, just like I have done. But the problem comes from the fact that when you try to help people, they don't want to listen. Our mem said misinformation has taken control of most people's mind completely, that they become vessels and servants to it. Wow, that's a great one, So, yeah, I like that word, completely, that they become vessels and servants to it, because they just become a channel for misinformation, which is wrong. Going back, thank you, Amen, for that point, for that definition. One of the issues is this. Now, you find out that people don't when they get to the level of authority and level of ability and level of pastoral evangelist, the titles they give it, they begin to function with a piece of information that they've been given, be it through or force. They don't care. They don't want to check. They don't want to, as long as they heard it from a person they trust, they run with it. Point in case, a lot of people are using a lot of hatred for a certain kind of people. They tie it with details from the Word of God. They tie it from details from the Bible. They don't like certain kind of people, but the only way they can justify it in their heart is to bring a verse from the Bible to tie it to it. And when they want to talk about God, they talk about God as a very, very, very wicked God. Now, are we going to be judged? Yes, we're going to be judged. Are we going to stand before the judgment throne? Yes, we're going to do that. But you find out that for people who have been raised to just criticize people, to just preach about hatred, to just preach about intimidation, to just preach about the mean side, that people will just hear and don't even want to even consider following God anymore, or they just scare people, it's a problem. There's a lot that we can talk about God. There's a love part of God. He said, come, let us reason together. Isaiah chapter 1 verse 8, I believe. He said, though your sins be like scarlet, they will be as white as snow. Instead of telling people that, listen, yes, you might not be there, but God is saying, come, let's, come unto me, all you that are labor and heavy laden, I will give you rest. Instead of saying those parts also, they just go straight into the condemnation part. So what are the 5 ways we can protect or liberate ourselves from misinformation? Like I said, you can share the video, you can press like, you can just let me know if you have a question, and answer my question also. I'm still waiting. Only one person has answered. Now, one of the ways you can ask, we can liberate ourselves and also protect ourselves is consider the source. Number one, consider the source. You have to consider the source. Where is this thing coming from? When you consider the source of information, knowing where a piece of information or rumor is coming out from, you will know the intention it is meant to fulfill. It's going to help you see and know what is the intent of this information. What is it supposed to do? Is it supposed to scare me? Is it meant to scare me? Is it meant to intimidate me or educate me? Now, when you look at the source, it's very important. Number 2 is that you have to check your emotion. You have to take time to really find out that, listen, this information that I'm trying to believe, am I believing it because it's true, or because it ties to my belief, or because I don't like Mr. A or Mr. B, and as a result I'll just absorb it? Check yourself. Am I believing it because I'm just being emotional, I'm being human for who I am or for which I am, or it is true? You have to check your emotions to be sure that you are not just being taken advantage of, and all that. Thank you, Samuel, for sharing this video and all that. So you have, number 1, you have to check the source of information. Where is it coming from? Number 2, you have to check your emotions. You have to check yourself. You have to ensure that you're not just being a weakling and just out of fear you just believe it. No. Number 3 is you have to listen to more than one person about it. I say this because I have one or two people who called me trying to find out information about what's going on in America or American politics. And they told me, hey, this is my source. And I say, you know what? Thank God for your source. But can you listen to the other source also? You know, just listen to everybody that has something to say. Put it together. And then use your mind to see how you can sieve and bring out things that are true and let things out that are not true. So you have to pay attention and listen to more than one person about it. You have to, because one person says it does not mean it's true. You have to make research. You know, that's what there's something called research. You know, thank you so much, Kennedy. Thank you, Chooks, for sharing the video. You have to be able to listen to more than one person. Like I gave you an example today about the eagle and all that. Don't just listen to me. Go online and check. Go and make research. And guess what? For you to check 2, 3, 4, 5 sources, you will get to see a lot of things that people don't know, and those that just go out there to write. In this era where it's easy to go to Google and check stuff and get stuff on WhatsApp and all that, it's easy to get good information, it's easy to get bad information. So you have to listen to more than one person. Don't sit down and just begin to sit down and let one person feed you completely. One person feed you. What I mean by that is, I'm not saying disobey your pastor. No, I'm saying that you have to be able to be like the Berean Christians, to find out and make research and get to see, so that you absorb what is good. The fourth thing you need to do is to ensure that you ask questions. If possible, ask questions. Anywhere you are that you are not allowed to ask questions, I dare say this, run away. I say this with all passion in my heart. Anywhere that you are not allowed to ask questions, you know, just run away from that place, because that place is just meant to stunt your growth. Anywhere that you find yourself that you're not allowed to ask questions over some things that you're not clear about, or some things you see that, you know, I'm not too sure about this, but can I ask this question, sir? Man, can I get more information about this? You know, if possible, even ask them their source. Sir, you said this. I mean, if you don't mind, I want to, you know, look further. I want to go further, look, search more on this thing. Can you give me your source and all that? So you have to be able to go ahead. Number one is that you have to just give me 1 second here. Okay, so number one is you have to consider the source. Number two, you have to check your emotions. Number three, you have to listen to other people. And then number four, I just mentioned it, you don't have to be afraid, and you have to ask them the sources. The fifth thing is that you have to make your own research. You have to make your own research, you know. Yeah, Samson Zarma said inaccurate or false information that okay, he said that misinformation is inaccurate or false information that misleads, which is true. Yeah, you know, if you don't, send you in the wrong direction. So the fifth thing you should do is do your own research, fact check almost everything that you hear. You know, you have to find time. Listen to me, people of God. If you can spend your time, spend your data in browsing and looking at gossip and watching some shows, you can spend your data in making research over things that you hear. If you can spend your data to watch people speak, to watch politicians speak, to watch pastors speak, you can spend your data on your phone, you know, instead of just using your phone to listen to only music and burn your whole data. You know, you can just also fact check things. Take time to check. So these are the 5 things. Number one is that you consider the source. Number two is that you check your emotion. Number three is that you ask questions, you know. Number four is that you make your own research and all that. So please, I want to say this, that take time to follow this 5 things to be able to protect yourself from misinformation. Misinformation is a very strong thing. Don't assume a position of leadership without really finding out or building on your information, you know. So don't just believe everything you hear because it ties to your faith. No, if you do that, you're setting yourself on a recipe of self-destruct. And that is one thing that is common today. A lot of people that have been brought up in a certain way in the faith are beginning to superimpose that way on people, you know, and all that. A lot of people that have been mentored by ministers that are preachers of hatred, preachers of evil, preachers of of intimidation will practice that. Those that are preachers of prosperity, preachers of of substandard doctrines from the Word of God, they will do that. That is how it goes round. I mean, I didn't say that to condemn them. I'm simply saying that we must acknowledge the fact that there's a problem. There's a problem, that these things are not true, and we have to be able to push it and make sure that we push informations that are correct out there to people. I want to stop here and ask and listen to more of your comment that you have up there, and let's see how that's gonna go. So check yourself, ask yourself questions that, look, am I believing this because it's tying to my belief, because I don't like this kind of people, and anytime I see anything people say about them, I just swallow it, be it true or fact. 5 ways we can protect and liberate ourselves. Number 1, you consider the source. Number 2, you check your emotions. Number 3, you listen to more than one person about it. Number 4, you shouldn't be afraid to ask questions. Number 5, you should do your own research and ensure that what you're going to swallow is genuine. Mohammed Sani, thank you for joining us. Somebody else here says that it's talking about show off. It said the mind is a terrible thing to waste, so their minds are consuming ignorantly. Yeah, so a lot of people take advantage over people and try to tell them, you know what, this is they try to use their position to superimpose a certain kind of doctrine or belief on people. They just, you have to believe this. Some people employ threat to push out people. That's not the best thing, and don't put yourself in a situation whereby you have to take hook, line, and sinker out of threat. I want to say a big thank you to you. Leave your comment, like I said, wherever you are, just leave your comment, leave your questions. My time is up. I want to really appreciate you for taking this time to listen to me. So these are 5 ways which we can use to liberate ourselves. Leave your comments, leave your questions, share this video if you want. If you're watching it as a rebroadcast, wherever you are, just let us know to throw your questions, and I will jump in at any time, anywhere, whatever day it is. Even if it's a year later, I will jump in to answer your questions and help you navigate if you want me to, and answer those questions. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your patience. I appreciate your love. I appreciate everything that you do. And I ask that by the special grace of God, we will keep helping each other. The time is 7:30 to 8 o'clock. I try my best to keep this video within 20 to 25 to at worst 30 minutes. But I see a lot of people joining late. I'm sorry. I have to go, and I don't want to keep you on the phone. You can watch the rebroadcast again. As soon as I'm done, I'm going to post it. Thank you so much for this time. Keep the discussion going on. I'm not gone. I'm just going to go offline now, but I'll be available to go through the video and answer any question you have, and follow up on any comment that you have. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a great day. If you're just starting your day, I hope you have a great day if you're half through your day. And I hope you have a great night if you're ready to go to bed. And take care, and bye-bye.